I'm a firm believer in stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm not going to lie. Life gets pretty redundant. Training can become mundane sometimes. Doing the same moves over and over, the body gets acclimated and used to whatever modalities or moves that you do. For me, it's sandbags, one kettlebell, and calisthenics. I'm probably used to the typical planes of motion from countless repetition. I originally got into working out from playing a sport and training sport-specific with the regular push, pull, leg isolation moves found in the weight room. When I was done being an athlete at 22 years old, I did what anyone else would do, and that was go to the gym and train sort of like a bodybuilder, trying to build muscle, but I found out quick, life for the everyday person isn't very optimal for that. So I fell off that wagon and got out of shape for a few years. I got lazy, undisciplined, and mediocre in that sense. Even these days, nothing is optimal because we have so many other things to do besides eat, sleep, and work out. So many other things that occupy the mind, but we still find time to make it happen. I don't think you should ever stop being an athlete. I think that signing up for physical challenges, no matter what they are, add a whole new meaning and purpose to whatever style of training that you do. It adds a turning point and throws a spin to whatever you're doing, and now you're focused on getting ready for an event. And that's what I'm about to get into in this video, preparing to do a ruthless obstacle course race that's well outside of the comfort zone. This is the third one I've done so far, and I've learned some things that I'm about to share, so let's get into it. So this obstacle course race is a 6.2 mile run, uphill, downhill, through the woods, through the creeks, through the mud, over, under, and through obstacles that test your ability to hang, climb, pull your own body weight, and grip strength. There's even some farmer carries with small sandbags and cinder blocks, actually, with a cold plunge towards the end that makes you feel a bit different when you get out. Based on these course maps, seems like there's stretches with barely any to easier obstacles, and then they stack all the hard ones at the end. I'm going to start with saying that I'm no highly skilled obstacle course racer, but my strategy is always to get as fit as possible and power through it with endurance and stamina. Through the terrain over every obstacle, my strategy with training is to build as much of that as possible, especially with it being a cross-country run. Training for the first race, I had no idea what I was getting into. I still don't think I have any idea of what I'm getting into. It's just that unpredictable, and it's like training for the unknown. So I just added a little short runs and a few farmer carries into my workouts. At that time, I was doing CrossFit style conditioning workouts, and with an 80-pound sandbag, just beating myself down every day. I was about 200 pounds body weight at the time. What I learned from the first race I did was that I wasn't as in shape as I thought. And then from the second one, my grip strength sucks. Learning from being trash after the first race, training for the second one, I ran distance like I was training for a marathon, overloading running up to 10 miles every week, and did a ton of sandbag conditioning with 80 and 160-pound long-handled sandbags, because this was before I got heavy with the sandbag. After the second race, I realized no matter how much conditioning I do, nothing is going to make it easier. I don't even have the means to train for some of the more skilled obstacles, or even access to terrain like that. So I got to make the best of what I have, and this is what I'm about to show in this video. All you can do is make the best of what you have. So what I have to train for this is a couple heavy sandbags, a kettlebell, rings, stationary bike, bands, cinder blocks, and a few places to condition behind my house. One of the biggest limiting factors is time. Like anyone else, I don't have much of it. Efficiency is key. Currently at the moment, I'm training heavy with the 300-pound sandbag, which demands a lot of focus, and that is what my training in its entirety is based around. I train 4 days a week and recover for 3. I found that to be a sweet spot for progress in the long run. So in order to train for both an event and a goal at the same time, I'm adding more conditioning to some of my workouts throughout the 8 weeks I'm training for this, in a way that's not going to hinder other aspects of training. On my channel, I typically post shorts every day with a few words about these sessions and show daily training. I show a little active recovery on here too on the rest days, but there's much of it done off camera. This time, I'm training nothing like the way I trained for these races the other 2 times. Definitely no distance running, because that's just going to wear me down, exhaust me, possibly hinder the repeatable heavy sandbag routine I've built. Since then, I've learned that when you implement more, you have to recover more. So thinking in terms of efficiency for conditioning or adding sprints, they're said to be somewhat anabolic. They have a ton of benefits in many ways. Just look it up. I'd say lifting a 300-pound sandbag about 10 times in a session has its cardiovascular benefits as well, because the body is working as a unit, and I'm pretty much gassed afterwards. If you really want to decimate your lungs, pair sprints with heavy sandbag. Kettlebell swings, some say they create durability in and protect the hamstrings on top of a more obvious taxing grip strength and cardiovascular system. Another low-key kettlebell move is a single arm or double kettlebell thruster. Doing a front squat to a punch-up type press really hits the full body hard in terms of strength and conditioning. Pair that with a push or pull body weight move and you'll be winded. On the rest days mostly, the stationary bike is a great way to get some steady state active recovery style cardio in for blood flow to flush out the lactic acid. This bike I have isn't your typical Peloton bike. It gets the full body involved by using the arms. Grip training is always something I do daily, and it's definitely going to be needed for trying to negotiate these obstacles, especially the ones that involve hanging and kipping. I've grown to love farmer carrying cinder blocks and pavers. It's not something I really have to think too much about, something that I just do between every set of everything. Try that on a consistent basis and you'll notice how much easier it is to hang on to stuff by your own body weight. So after doing two of these races and being much more methodical in my training at this point, I'm not adding more days or more stuff to my training and wear myself down to a point of not recovering as well from week to week. So what I do is I take stock of what I'm already doing and add little things in that are relative to what I'll be doing on race day, like running and getting acclimated to hanging and moving with one arm. Tapering is important in preparing for something like this as well, as in decreasing training days and adding more rest days. I usually taper the last 4 weeks leading up to it by 4, 3, 2 days. You want to be as fresh as possible before the annihilation that will take place. And that's the rundown on how I'm going to be training for an obstacle course race using sandbags, kettlebells, and calisthenics. If you have anything to add, any questions, leave it in the comments. Thanks for being here, and I'll see y'all in the next video.